Hey, what's happening, everyone? It is I, the man, the myth, the mustache, Tim here, and I've got a brand new video for you. Welcome to part 9 of What If Deku Had 100% One For All Remastered. Please, sit back and relax because you are in for a treat. With that little intro out of the way, let's get this story going, shall we? A couple of days had passed since the exams had ended, as well as Bakugo and Midoriya's little fight. And now, it was officially time for Class 1A to go on their scheduled school trip to the lodge. Everyone was incredibly excited for this opportunity, but what no one was expecting was for Aizawa to stop the bus in what seemed to be the middle of nowhere. "All right, everyone, time to get out," Aizawa called. Class 1A looked at their teacher in confusion, but ultimately went along with their teacher's commands. This was when 3 new people arrived at the scene. A blonde-haired woman wearing a blue cat-themed outfit, a brown-haired woman wearing a red version of the cat outfit, and finally, a young-looking boy with a sour look on his face. "Greetings, UA students! We are the Wild Wild Pussycats!" The two spoke in unison. The brown-haired girl began to explain Class 1A's current situation, which shocked the class. They weren't going to some sort of resort, but in fact, they were going to be staying at the base of a mountain that the Pussycats owned. "You all have 3 hours to make it to the top of the mountain, or else you won't get supper," the blonde added. Many of Class 1A immediately tried to get back on the bus, only for Aizawa to have left already. "Alright, I guess this won't be so bad. After all, we just climbed that mountain, right?" Kaminari thought. "Wrong!" Pixie Bob explained, slamming her hand on the ground. The ground began to morph itself into multiple different beasts made out of dirt, which terrified the weaker members of Class 1A. Koda tried to use his quirk to control the beasts, but it had no effect on them, seeing as they weren't real animals, but just a manifestation of someone's quirk. "Well, I guess we'll just have to fight our way through," Bakugo laughed, cracking his knuckles. Bakugo, Midoriya, Ida, and Todoroki all leapt into action not too soon afterwards. Midoriya's biggest challenge throughout all of this was trying to control his output of One For All. He could have just zoomed by the rest of the class and made it to the top of the mountain within the time given, but that would defeat the purpose of the exercise. That, and it was good training for him too. On some of the beasts, he used too much strength attacking and caused enough wind pressure to cause some of the trees to collapse. Others, he didn't use enough power and they were completely unharmed by his attacks, which frustrated him. It took a little bit before he could find the right percentage to use against them that could still cut down the amount significantly. Thanks to the combined efforts of Class 1A, they were all able to make it to the mountain in a couple of hours later than the deadline. But it was revealed there were no expectations for Class 1A to even make it to the top of the mountain in that given time. This revelation irked some of the members quite a bit. "Anyways, you're all going to be strengthening your quirks while you're at this training camp," Aizawa explained. This left Class 1A in confusion. What did their teacher mean by strengthening their quirks? Wasn't that what they were doing this whole time? "I can see you're all confused by what I mean by this, so I'll give you a demonstration. Bakugo, catch." Bakugo managed to catch a softball from Aizawa, and was instructed to launch the ball as far as possible while staying within the restraints of the circle. Aizawa had previously done this exam with them at the beginning of the year. Soon, Bakugo launched the ball with a furious intensity, screaming, "Die!" This caused some of the class to sweat in response. Some things never seemed to change when it came to Bakugo's character. 709.6 meters, Aizawa said bluntly. "What? No way! Bakugo should have gotten a crazily higher score than that!" Kirishima shouted. Aizawa groaned upon hearing this. "While it may be true you all have gone through your fair share of experiences during your time at UA, honing your skills with your quirks, that's just it. You actually haven't been strengthening your quirks at all. Hence, why Bakugo got the score he did. He hasn't been strengthening his quirk that much at all, just finding different ways to use it." This started to make sense in all of the students' eyes, and their days of quirk strength building began. In Midoriya's case, Aizawa pulled him away from the rest of the class for a moment. "Now, Midoriya, I know you're incredibly strong with your quirk, but I've been wondering if it was possible for you to go even further beyond your max output. Your quirk is similar to All Might's after all, and even he seemed to be able to go beyond his limits during his last fight." "Oh, well, you see, I never really tried doing that before, to be honest. It never actually came to mind. All I really thought about was the longest was to get a better control of my quirk's output, as you've seen how destructive it can be." Aizawa nodded. "Well, starting tomorrow, that's what we'll be doing. You'll be pushed to boost your quirk to beyond its current limits. If your current limit is 100%, let's see if we can get you to do 150% or higher. Is that really necessary, though, Aizawa-sensei? Midoriya asked. Aizawa looked at Midoriya with an intensity in his eyes that Midoriya was not familiar with. It made him squeamish under this glare. It is absolutely necessary, Midoriya. You'll never know when you're fighting a villain and 100% is not enough. When you have to go beyond. Plus ultra. Midoriya was speechless for a moment before nodding his head in the affirmative with a determined smile on his face. The next day, at the butt crack of dawn, Class 1A was forced to wake up and sent out of their training camp cabin in order to begin training to upgrade their quirks. When Class 1B was brought to the lodge as well, and caught up to speed about what was going to happen while they were there, they noticed how this training didn't seem to be in all that favorable of a condition. As a matter of fact, it looked like torture with the other students pushing their quirks to their absolute limit, and then some. A couple of the members of Class 1B doubted that such a large group of students could be monitored by so few supervisors. This was when a large muscular man wearing a brown version of the Pussycats outfit appeared. A woman with green hair wearing a yellow version of the uniform walked right beside him, introducing themselves as Tiger and Ragdoll, the other two members of the Pussycats. Since you all doubt our skills, how about one of you come up and try to fight me? Anyone with a simple power-enhancing quirk will do, Tiger suggested. Midoriya reluctantly went up and charged at Tiger with around 65% of one for all. He felt that Tiger could probably take much more punishment, considering he was a pro hero. And from his appearance, it seemed he was on the physically stronger side as well, hence why he decided to go at a higher percentage rate. This caught Tiger off guard, and only his instinctive reflexes were able to save him, as he was able to just barely dodge Midoriya's punch. A strong wave of air pressure was released from Midoriya's punch, which impressed the hero. Tiger tried to punch Midoriya, but Midoriya was able to leap away fast enough. Midoriya here is an exception. It's not necessarily power he lacks, but more so control. He'll be working on those two things, though, throughout this training. The Pussycats are actually a very suitable team of instructors for you all, considering their large area of effect quirks, Aizawa pointed out. You're a strong one, kid, but your movements are too straightforward and stiff. Something a villain may take advantage of if you aren't careful enough, so that's another thing you should work on throughout this training, Tiger mentioned. Midoriya took note of this and began to vigorously stretch. In the middle of the night, everyone was trying to learn how to cook curry. Midoriya wasn't doing too good at the job, but he still tried. While cooking, he noticed the little boy who was with the other Pussycats leave and disappear somewhere else, leaving Midoriya curious about the boy. Mandalay, what's up with that little kid in your group? Is he one of your guys' kid? Midoriya inquired. Mandalay simply shook her head before sighing. Well, you see, he's my nephew. His parents were both pro-heroes. You may have known them as the Water Hose Heroes. They were a hero duo, but they died in the line of duty. When Kota was 3, his parents were defending his city from a powerful villain. They managed to subdue the villain and save all the citizens, but in exchange, their lives were lost that day. Their heroic efforts were constantly praised, but this ended up affecting Kota's view of heroes, warping his views to the point where he claims to hate heroes. Midoriya felt bad for the kid hearing this, and wondered what the little one was currently doing, considering how he hated heroes that much. Yet here he was, stuck sharing a place with pro-heroes and 40 students, all learning how to become pro-heroes. He decided to go on and look for the young boy named Kota, in order to comfort him, hopefully. Let him know that he doesn't have to feel alone in this world. Despite what may have happened in the past, he doesn't have to isolate himself and burden himself with all those pent-up emotions he may be holding. Midoriya looked around the mountain for a bit before finally stumbling upon Kota. He had a bowl of curry with him, made by one of the other students, since his curry cooking was atrocious. Hi there! Midoriya tried to greet the boy before offering the bowl of curry to him. I noticed you didn't eat anything, so I figured you may be hungry. Kota didn't respond to Midoriya, but Midoriya still rested the bowl on the floor, in case Kota wanted any. Midoriya sat down on the floor opposite to Kota, going on to explain his awareness of the boy's unique circumstances. Naturally, Kota was enraged hearing this. I have a story. A story about a kid who was born quirkless. You see, this kid was always mocked for not having a quirk, for being different from everyone else. He was seen as below everyone. What's the point of this story? Kota interrupted. Midoriya laughed a little, hearing the boy's impatience. Well, the moral of the story is, well, to accept reality. Look, Koda, you can't reject reality as it'll only hurt you even more. Koda's eyes began to twitch hearing this. Leave! He yelled back. Midoriya complied with the boy's command, raising his hands in defense as well. Sorry, Midoriya whispered before leaving. Meanwhile, during the two boys' interaction, something was happening behind the scenes. A few kilometers away from the camp, several masked figures appeared from the shadows. Let's attack the camp now! We've been waiting for long enough already! A gruff voice stated. Patience! It's simply not time yet. Another responded. This is simply a warning signal after all. The era of heroes will soon pass. And that's our video for today, so thank you all for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed it. Before I go, there's a little bit of housekeeping I want to do. First, We the Celestials has many other channels and content for your entertainment and viewing pleasures. All the information you'll need is right below in the description. So please, feel free to check out all the other incredible content our team creates. Second, on behalf of We the Celestials, I want to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details are in the description as well. Give some love to the writer and the editors. They do a lot of work here. That's all for today's video, so thank you all for watching, and have an amazing day. And as always, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and stay awesome. This has been Tim. Mustache out.